Should welcome that.
Question number 9, Darien Fenton.
Thank you, Mr.
Order.
Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Social Development and Employment. Does the Work and Income New Zealand Find a Job website require all vacancies advertised to meet legal minimum employment standards? If not, why not?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, Work and Income tell me to be advised a vacancy must be a legal activity in accordance with the relevant employment legislation.
Darien Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, does she think Auckland builder Colin Lane's job vacancy, which offered 6 weeks' work with ACC levies, GST, tax, sick leave and holidays excluded, meets legal minimum employment standards? And if not, will she be advising Work and Income to review the job vacancies that they're advertising?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, my understanding is it was for a contractor for 6 weeks, and there are different rules as the member knows for those that are contracting and those that are on a weekly. So yes, I believe it was within the legislation.
Darien Fenton.
To the Minister, is she aware that the Find a Job website is currently advertising jobs paying below minimum wage, piece rate work, jobs being paid on a per square metre rate, and even a job for a traditional Chinese medical practitioner at minimum wage? And if so, how does she think that this contributes to John Key's commitment that, quote, we want better New Zealanders to have better jobs and better incomes, close quote?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, I suppose that's the difference between this side and the other side, is that we think any job is a good job, and sometimes you don't always get to do your dream job. So sometimes you have to work hard, sometimes you have to get a bit stuck in, sometimes you have to prove yourself to get promoted, sometimes you have to wash dishes in a rest home for a while or dig the drains, but there's opportunities out there and that's a great thing. Mr. Speaker, Work and Income currently have 5,386 open positions, and over the last 12 months has listed more than 65,000 positions on their website. I can't guarantee that every single one of them is right, but I do think they've got the criteria pretty strong as much as they are.
Darien Fenton.
Supplementary.
Order.
So to the Minister.
Order. Darien Fenton.
Is the advertising of unlawful jobs by Work and Income that pay below minimum wage or seek to avoid labour laws part of her government's plan to promote the 30% differential in wages between New Zealand and Australia as a competitive advantage?
Mr. Speaker, as I've quite clearly said, that we do not support unlawful jobs on the website. Inappropriate businesses are also ruled out.
Order.
What the member has an issue with, I think, Mr. Speaker, is that they define some contractors as not being legitimate jobs. The member has certainly expressed that she doesn't like particular young people actually going out and delivering papers and doing jobs like that. We actually support that sort of work and think that it's a good thing.
The Honourable Heather Roy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary question. Which of these two options would she consider better for an unemployed 16-year-old on the Find a Job website? First, a builder advertising an apprenticeship position for a young person paying youth rates of $10 an hour, that's $400 a week, or leaving that same young person to stay on the unemployment benefit on $150 a week.
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, we're always keen to see young people get into work, and we see building apprenticeships as an important part of that, so we'd certainly support that.
Point of order, the Honourable John Biscow.
Look, that was a very simple, direct question. The Minister was asked which she would prefer, option A or option B. The young builder apprentice earning $400 a week.
Order, we don't need the question.
And she didn't answer the question, Mr.
Order, we don't need the question repeated. Does the Honourable Simon Power wish to make a point of order?
The member may have missed it, but towards the end of the Minister's answer, which admittedly did drift off slightly, she said that she supported that position.
Order, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Point of order is being heard, and there's an awful lot of noise which should not be. I've allowed members to contribute to this point of order because actually it was a very straightforward question. It did not contain any political innuendo. We traditionally don't ask ministers always to give yes or no or certain precise answers to hypothetical situations. But I would on this occasion, because it's a very straightforward question, invite the Minister to give a more straightforward answer to the question. It doesn't mean that it'll satisfy the member asking it, but an answer without deviation, because the question was very simple. It asked whether or not the Minister would prefer someone on apprenticeship on a youth rate, which is hypothetical, I accept, at $10 an hour, or to be on the unemployment benefit at some lower rate. The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I certainly recommend looking back at the Hansard, but I certainly said I would love to see young people in a building apprenticeship, and that's exactly the answer I gave before.
Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable John Boscawen.
The Minister was asked to say which she preferred, option A or option B. She did not answer the question. A building apprenticeship, Mr Speaker, under current law has to be at the minimum wage.
Order. And there will be silence. I don't blame the member for raising his point of order. Let me interpret the Minister's answer. If I'm wrong, she'd better get to her feet and correct it. She preferred the first option. Now, if I'm wrong, the Minister had better get to her feet and correct it. The Honourable Paula Bennett.
It was actually the second option.
I beg
the first option. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, no. It was the interview. Oh, God, now I'm confused. Order. All around order. I invite the Honourable Heather Roy to repeat her question.
Thank
you,
Mr Speaker.
Again.
I think that might be helpful in the circumstances. Which of these two options would she consider...
I want to hear this question clearly. The Honourable Heather Roy.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Which of these two options would she consider better for an unemployed 16-year-old on the Find a Job website? First, a builder advertising an apprenticeship position for a young person paying youth rates of $10 an hour, that's $400 a week, or leaving that same young person to stay on the unemployment benefit on $150 a week.
The Honourable Paula Bennett. And I want to hear this answer in silence.
If given a hypothetical choice between those two options, I would always rather see the young person in work. The building apprenticeship sounds quite good.
Question number 10, Louise Upston.